ha ha ha, the Corwin Amendment, the Corwin Amendment. The lost causer's favorite argument to why the war couldn't have been about slavery, because you have the Corwin Amendment. Do your research, which we all have, and we've already put this argument to bed a million times, but I'll do it once more. The Corwin Amendment protects the state's domestic institutions from the federal government. It doesn't mention slavery by name, and that's what pissed the South off. They wanted slavery in the Constitution by name, protected in the current states and into the future states. They weren't afraid of Lincoln ending slavery. They didn't think that was possible for any president to end slavery. They were afraid that he was going to stop the expansion of slavery into new territories, which is what he fucking campaigned on, and they were afraid of that. So any amendment that was short of not protecting slavery into the new territories that we just acquired from Mexico was not good enough for them, so they wanted to secede, which leads me to my second point. By the time the Corwin Amendment is even passed, you already had 7 of the states secede, so they were already on their way to their new little government. They had already created their own constitution, which mentions slavery by name and the protection of slavery in those states and into future territories from federal governments. Weird how that works out. And on top of all that, they've already fired upon the Star of the West and seized federal property. They passed the point of no return. Third off, this whole thing was a compromise to stop a war from happening. But as I said, they'd already fired on federal property. Kind of already started the whole damn shindig. But it's like all the other compromises. The Kansas-Nebraska Act, the Missouri Compromise, the Compromise of 1850, the Three-Fifths Compromise, all these were to try to placate the South and the issue of slavery and kick that can down the road. But because slavery was never protected in the Constitution, this was fucking inevitable. You'd like to try to blame Lincoln for the whole thing, except for the fact that this passes before Lincoln's even in office. And once Lincoln is in office, his opinions on the matter are that I'll let the states decide for themselves about the Corwin Amendment. But guess what? You already had 7 states secede, so it doesn't matter. And also, it doesn't matter what Lincoln is thinking or what Lincoln is doing, because he also has great things like, oh, if I could end the war by freeing all the slaves, I'd do it. And if I could end the war without freeing the slaves, I'd do it. Because he was trying to prevent a fucking war. The North didn't declare the war. The North didn't start the war. The North didn't secede. So nothing the North was doing matters as to why the war was fought. Because guess what? You can't have the Civil War without secession, and you can't have secession without the issue of slavery. And you don't believe me? I'm going to read directly from Mississippi's immediate causes which induce and justify secession. And it says, and I quote here, our position is thoroughly identified with the institution of slavery as the greatest material interest of the world. Wars about slavery, you can't ignore that when Mississippi is sitting there saying, it's fucking about slavery, along with all the other states that wrote immediate cause of declaration. Yeah, they all mentioned slavery. Vice President mentioned slavery. It's slavery, guys. It's always been slavery. It's always going to be slavery.